What's happening, legends? Welcome to another episode of Meta Legends Live. Let's meta dive into it, fam. All right, so if this is your first time tuning in, stick around because do we have an episode in store for you? I'm going to kick it off with talking briefly about the announcements that are going on in Meta Legends, and then we are going to jump right into the interview. We have a very special guest today. Coming over from the CyberKongz community. It is their community manager, HenryTheGrape. And let me just tell you, this man is incredible. He has a lot of insight, great understanding, is very, he's been in the space a lot longer than myself and has a great head about himself, about all the things going on in this space. So get ready for it. I'm excited to see it. And also, we're going to end up in the lounge. So let's head into it. First, just to give some of you a little reminder, this is Meta Legends, and our project is 12,345 legends, and they are categorized by their level of rarity. And they're generated with hundreds of different elements. What our goal is as a project is to create this complete ecosystem. And where we're starting out with that is focusing on this thing called the Meta Connect. What is the Meta Connect? It's going to be our social media for NFTs. A lot of great and interesting things going to be involved in this. Head over to the Discord if you want to learn more about some of the aspects around that, or over to our website. Also, that's just one of the phases on the roadmap that we're going to be striving toward. Another thing that we're looking to do is we're going to be developing our own metaverse. I know it's going to be cool. The metaverse is going to be called the Meta Life. We also have a light paper out about that, and there's tons of cool things that we're looking to develop and get involved for that. So again, that was just a quick little heads up about what the project represents right now. We are developing more things each and every day. And so let's dig into the meat. Let's dig into the meat. All right. So just to go through some of the announcements, we got just to talk about like the calendar this week. We are into Wednesday today. So the only thing going on today is the Meta Legends Live. And then tomorrow we have a quiz going on at 6 p.m. UTC, followed by on Friday, the AMA with myself. And that's going to be happening at 2 a.m. UTC time. Again, great stuff. We've had a lot of great co-hosts like Red Rabbit, like Jedi, like Zeus Kitty, like Boss Lady. Great people, very informative, educated, experienced, and I can't wait to see what more they have to share. Again, that's happening on Friday, and then we have another one of those Mystery Legend game launches. And then Saturday, we're back for another one of the Meta Legends Live episodes with another daily quiz. So cool stuff going on throughout the week. And don't forget, Sunday, fun stuff there with the daily quiz again, another mystery game, the mystery game results, and then a design lesson with none other than 3D monsters. So get ready, get excited, head over to the Discord to make sure you are checking in for some of these events. It's great. And we just had a big launch yesterday. I mean, we had a little bit of the trouble with revealing it because of certain aspects, but the Legend Zone is here. Now, what is the Legend Zone? It is our private club for Meta Legends. It's reserved for those who really believe in the project the most. There's certain requirements for eligibility. For example, like you cannot sell or list your Meta Legend NFT for less than an ETH since the open or launch of it, which was on March 21st. So there's tons of cool things that are going to be developing inside the LZ. Go check out the roadmap. We just had a big announcement about it. Well, we dropped a lot of information about it over there in the facts on the Discord. So go check that out. See all the things that are coming to it, all the things to be aware of when you're connecting to it, how to disconnect from it, and also just all the fun and the rewards that are going to be involved with it. So again, Legend Zone, that just dropped here yesterday, and we are excited to see where we take that next. But, I'm excited. I don't know about all of you, but I am excited to dig into this interview. So let's give it on up for him. Henry the Grape. Let's throw it out here. All right. So I want to give a big shout out to a special guest that we have here today. It is Henry the Grape. Let's give him a warm welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, Henry. How are we doing?
Yeah, doing good, man. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here with you.
Awesome. No, excited that you were able to make some time to take some, like I said, take some time out of your day to join us here. We're just going to run through some questions, get a little bit of your insight, have a little discussion, and then go from there. So, why don't you start off by telling the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Henry the Grape, and I'm the community manager of CyberKongz. And I've been in the space for a little bit. It feels, to a certain degree, it feels like it's only been a few months, but really kind of hit the ground running in NFTs really January of 21. So, December of 2020 was when I started to really dive into NFTs and really wanted to start understanding them. But January 21 is actually when I bought my first NFT. And just maybe a little bit about me, not that you necessarily care, but I'm a 39-year-old father of 3 daughters. Fairly, I'm a normie. To a certain extent, man. I'm just like a straight up normie. I meet a lot of full on degens that are tech wizards, and that's awesome. I respect that, but it's not me. I love the tech, by the way. I think the Web3 tech is awesome, and I'm loving learning more and more about it. But I was like a normal guy. I used to be in the U.S. Coast Guard, got out of that, got into contracting. I have a flooring store in real life, but I got to tell you, I love being in the space and connecting with people like you and sharing, whether it's CyberKongz or any other passion in Web3 that I have. It's a retreat every time I get to do it.
Oh no, I'm glad that you bring that up. Because there are all kinds of different people that are coming into the space. Like you said, we have people like ourselves who are normies, that just come from typical jobs that we might have, or what society might consider typical jobs. And then you have these other web wizards and these other investors just all coming together and creating these groups. And it's cool to see how a lot of the things that are coming out of them, especially like the projects like CyberKongz, like Meta Legends, it's interesting to just see all of these different works of people coming together based on the couple of interests that they share, whether it's making money, being interested for, our case, video games, and just NFTs. It's cool to see the other aspects that they also bring to the table, because they're very vast and different. But happy to have you on here again. So you were talking a little bit about the, when you first got into the NFT space. How did that kind of come at you?
Yeah, so it was interesting because a lot of what I do with NFTs, I do with my brother. My brother in real life. I actually have 2 brothers in real life that are both really, really active in Web3, but both of them are older brothers. So one of them, his name is Huda. He works at Crypto Slam. We had been in crypto as casual traders prior to getting into NFTs. And when I say casual traders, I mean not full on degens. Used to think of cryptocurrency as like a stock, oh yeah, I got a little Bitcoin or got a little Ethereum, or and we had both, unbeknownst to each other, had been looking into NFTs in, let's say, from like the summer and fall of 2020. We were both looking at that, but we never had a conversation about it. And it wasn't until December of 2020 that I remember I was home on, it was like right around Christmas. So I was home on the weekend, and we were talking about Ethereum, and he brought up NFTs. And I was like, man, I've been looking into NFTs. I've been reading news articles about it. And I was like, oh, cool that you're looking into NFTs too. And he's like, no, I really think we need to be focusing on this. I think it's something that's going to be big. The problem was that barrier to entry. Like, okay, DeFi wallets, MetaMask wallets, just minting, just all of those terms that are so common to like you and I right now were, you just remember the first day that you got into NFTs, everything was foreign to you. And so there were these barriers to entry that we needed to kind of overcome. And honestly, it was literally just, okay, let's figure it out. So we did. And it took a little bit of time for us to actually buy an NFT, because we got our MetaMask wallets and figured out how precious our seed phrases were and things like that. But one night he called me, and Pranksy, who I had been following Pranksy in the Larva Labs Discord, he had just run a massive punks giveaway over Christmas, where I think you could buy tickets to his raffle, and then I think he raffled off an insane amount of punks. It may have been like 100 or 150 or something like that. And yeah, it was a decent amount. But at the time, punks were, don't quote me, but I feel like they were somewhere in like the 3 to 7 ETH range. And he had a project with Carlini. Carlini is the founder of Penelope's Country Club, also a massive whale in Top Shots. But those two had a project called NFT Boxes. And it's a curated monthly subscription that you can basically, not a subscription, that's the wrong way to say it. It's a curated monthly mystery box with various artists in it. And I'm talking like artists like Xcopy, A Lot of Money, Fuck Render, Angie Taylor, Low Belly, like just some really awesome people in this space. And he called me one night, and he said, it was right after the January drop. And he said, we have to buy these. He saw the prices were going up and up. And he's like, I remember I was sitting on my couch. He said, we have to buy these. I was hanging out with my wife and was like, I don't have the time. I'd already spent like all day putting together like another wallet and researching stuff. I'm like, I can't, like, if I spend an hour trying to figure out how we even buy these off of OpenSea, I'm going to get in trouble at home. And the next day, I remember we talked on the phone in the morning. He said those things that we were looking at, which I believe the first piece was a piece by Quasimodo, who's an awesome artist. Those had already like 5x'd overnight. And I remember that was sort of this moment where I was like, oh man, this is one of those things you don't really have a lot of time to always make a decision on. This can move quickly. And we found ourselves in the NFT Box Discord hanging out there a lot. And I mean like a lot. That was where that is really where I learned so much, was from guys like Carlini and Pranksy and the people that frequented that space, where we all got a group and we vibed together. And we kind of formed, to be honest with you, we formed a group which we started back last March called the Non-Fungible Idiots. We just call ourselves the Idiots. And we started this little group that kind of started to grow into its own thing. But that's where I started. And that's where I started to learn this and ask the 1 million questions that everybody asks on their journey into Web3. So that was, that's how I got into like actual NFTs. That was the very beginning of my journey.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty incredible experience. I mean, especially just to look at the time of when that happened. I mean, some people, they're still not even aware. I'll go out here and try to ask people about NFTs here on the streets of Chicago sometimes, and they'll still look at me clueless. So you and your brother looking at these things earlier on, for example, back early last year, end of 2020, it's incredible to be understanding of some of these concepts even at that time. But again, I love how you highlighted some of those barriers to entry of understanding the different wallets, understanding your seed phrase, how to actually go and purchase something on OpenSea. It takes me back to the first time I went and got my first NFT. It was I had just enough to get it, and then I realized, I have to activate my ability to actually link my wallet to the OpenSea to start the transactions. That first initial fee. So,
Yeah.
There
remember
is
the first time you saw gas, and you're like, "What? Wait! What is this?"
I know. I was like, "Where do I fill up?"
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just such an awesome perspective, an awesome experience to have, especially, starting the non-fungible idiots and then seeing it growing also into what it was and helping influence and learn a lot of the process that, this is going to be a very huge space for learning. And that's what I see as a big opportunity for a lot of projects, is providing that ease to the barriers of those entries of, hey, I know that you don't understand what the wallet is, but this is how you set it up. Here's a quick, simple way. We can also talk you through how to go and purchase something on OpenSea. And that's going to be a valuable aspect of it in itself. So I'm glad that you brought it up. And, this kind of leads into the next question of, and it definitely sounds like it has, but, how has Web3 changed your life, and do you see it changing other people's lives?
Oh man, in so many ways, that I would never have even known. I remember coming into the space and really being in awe of people that were actually able to do this full time for a living. I was like, wow, like people have, of course, it makes sense. Like if there is money to be made, well, that means there's people that are obviously understanding this at a level that allows them to do this full time. And I remember thinking how cool that is. I never thought, and I talk about it often because I feel like I am so lucky to have a job with CyberKongz. Like I know how lucky I am, and it's something that I kind of remember daily, because there are so many people coming into the space, or maybe they came in the summer of 21, and maybe that opportunity hasn't come to them yet. But my point to this is, I remember thinking like, wow, there's people that do this, full time. And I remember probably the beginning of the summer of 21, my brother at this point had already received his job from CryptoSlam. And I was super happy for him, because one of his goals was to eventually be able to leave his full-time job and be in Web3 full time. So I was super happy that he was able to do that. And I remember thinking like, okay, so maybe part of my roadmap is going to be at some point to be able to be at that point. But it seemed like it was a long way away. And to be honest with you, maybe it is still a long way away. I juggle 2 full-time jobs because, one, I'm the CM of CyberKongz, which is, it's a little busy over there. But I have a business in real life, and I've had to kind of learn, and I think I fail at it often. I've had to learn how to like balance it. So like, for instance, I'm in my store right now, and everybody's really cool whenever I got to hop on a Spaces or a podcast. Like one of my guys was like, hey, come back into the corner so you can have this spot in the corner to do this podcast. So I'm still juggling it. But Web3 has, and specifically like NFTs have changed my life. I can't even picture where I would be right now without it. And because I've met so many cool people, I'm going to LA next week for NFT LA, or we were just at ETH Denver, and you get to go to these events. And I was working a little bit with the Crypto Bats, Ozzy Osbourne's project. The guys over at Sutter Systems are great people, and I'm like, these kind of relationships that you develop, it's something that it's hard to do in real life. Like, when do you just get to like chill on Spaces with somebody who's in the UK or in Dubai? Guys like, you and I have chatted before, but when do you just randomly strike up conversations with people in depth. Like when you and I talked the last time, we didn't talk for like 2 minutes. We talked for a little bit of time, just sharing our lives. And you know where I live, I know where you live, and it's cool. Like that's not a thing that everybody gets to experience. But when you have something as cool as NFTs and Web3 to bond over, it reminds me a lot of when I was in the military, and you have that camaraderie with people that are really the only people that fully understand what you're going through. And I see a lot of that in this space.
No, I mean, you just gave me chills because I love that perspective of it. And it is truly incredible to see, like you said, all these projects are able to become global very quickly because of the ability of Web3. You know, we have our founders who are out there in Dubai. That's where they're located. And then I'm also talking with people that are out in Australia. I'm out in the UK, all throughout Europe. It's truly incredible to have, like you said, these connections with people, and also the depths of the conversations that we have, because, you know, the whole aspect, the understanding of the cultural differences, it really provides a different kind of light on some of the situations or understandings that people have. And it creates this new kind of found understanding for the space. And like you said, the camaraderie, it's incredible because everybody wants this space to keep on growing and continue to grow and see, like you said, the people that understand it and understand the capabilities that are able to be utilized in the future. We are considered, you know, some people consider us crazy right now. You know, I got my sister laughing at me, taking pictures of my of my NFTs, saying that she owns them now. Hopefully I could get through to her eventually, and my other family members. But yes, it's truly incredible to see how, you know, just like you said, Web3 is changing not only our own lives, but also just so many lives around us. It's incredible. I had this podcast more recently with I had American Jedi from the Metal Legends. He was on there with me as a co-host, and we talked about just the whole aspect of sports. You know, the whole way that we're going to be experiencing sports and whatnot is going to be through these, you know, virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality things. And it's going to be a lot of stuff that's also going to be utilized throughout the blockchain, throughout the crypto, utilizing different currencies and whatnot. And also having things like NFTs be represented as like tickets, or one of the cool things was, I think it was DraftKings were thinking about doing like for a 7 series game, they would make an 8th one, give that one for free based on whoever won that 7 series of the tournament. And so,
oh, nice.
Like you said, it's really cool to see how it's changing in our lives and other people's lives, and also just the way that a lot of the industries are going about it. So,
you want to know something? We had on yesterday, one of our new partners is called Nemus Earth, and they are centered around conservation in the Amazon, in the section in Brazil, part of the rainforest. And it was really cool because they've taken something, and you know, they understand this at a level don't, but they've taken something that has not worked really well in Web 2, and they're trying to enhance it by using Web 3, which basically allows people to come together, individuals who care about conservation, to come together, who, again, individually could probably accomplish very little. But now you can take people and bring them all together under this umbrella of Web3. And they're using proceeds from their NFT sale. And there's some gamification to it, but they're using it to purchase land in the Amazon specifically for conservation, where they will do this sort of circular economy to do, you know, to make sure that the area is not getting clear cut, and to make sure that any of the farming they're doing is sustainable. And my point to all of it is just that 1 year ago, we were just buying profile pictures, right? Whether it's punks or kongs or apes or, you know, what doodle, not even doodles at that point, art. And now this sort of next phase of utility is, I think, this real world integration, this in real life integration of Web3. And exactly to your point, it's only a matter of time. Like I would be really surprised if next NFL season that we don't start seeing more and more Web3 integration, because with the NFL all day, you also had the NFL coming out with their own like commemorative tickets that you could buy. So I remember I got a couple of the Buffalo Bills commemorative tickets for this past season. So I can't imagine next season going without there being more NFT integration. And in fact, there was a Buffalo Bills game that it was either the last week of the season or maybe it was their first playoff game where everybody that went got an NFT ticket. So I'm like, they're catching on. And to your point, this is going to be huge in the sports market.
Absolutely. No, it's crazy. Like you said, I mean, I love that you put it into perspective. Look at how it was a year ago versus to where we're at today. And then, imagine these kind of developments being made a year from now. We can't even wrap our minds around it.
Yeah. No, it's like, I can't even think of what 1, 2, 3 years down the road looks like, because I didn't realize that we would be where we're at right now, even a year ago. I mean, the adoption that we've had just in the past, let's say 12 to 14 months is massive. So I can't even imagine. I mean, look at the wave of Asian art that we had in this last run, which means, we bring Asia into it. Think of how many more millions, billions of people that are coming into this market. And at some point, I think we both know this is going to be just as common as when, back when we used to have cell phones that you had to pay by the minute and buy your plan. And it was like, you couldn't imagine an unlimited plan or texting or being able to get on the internet from your phone. That it's the same thing. Web3 is going to be so integrated into our life that you won't even know you're in Web3. It'll just be what you do and everybody will be a part of it. I really do believe that's where we're heading.
Yeah, I think, one of these nights we should sit down and have a chat with Red Rabbit, go down one of his rabbit holes of the possibilities that are going to be happening in the Web3 space. But, this leads really well into kind of like the next point. I mean, you are the community manager of CyberKongz. And so, you have these expectations that you provide, not only just, the ones that you develop as a team, but also the ones that you give to the community and whatnot. How is that, how is this quick development impacted by the actual reality of the things that are there? The expectations versus the reality there. How do you manage that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because you have people that come into a project. We just celebrated our 1 year, birthday, anniversary, whatever you want to call it.
Congrats.
Yeah, you know what? It was I think a humbling moment, because Mio, who is the founder of CyberKongz, is, I mean, I say it all the time, maybe I say it too much, but he's just such he is the type of guy that you want founding a project, because he cares about everybody in the project. There's no part of CyberKongz that is ever more for the team and less for the holders. It is always added value for holders. But in that spectrum of a year, you think of how many people came into the project at different points. They minted. For perspective, CyberKongz minted, and to think of how this wouldn't work today, okay? CyberKongz minted directly from OpenSea for 0.01 Ethereum, and there was only 1,000 Genesis Kongs. It was if you tried to do that today, I don't know that it would work in this ever evolving space. So you have people that are coming in at all different price points, and you have people that are coming in for all different reasons, whether it's people who are joining just from the money perspective. They just want to be able to flip. And, maybe those are the people that pop into Discord and are like, why is the price falling? Or, why this, why that? But then, I think one of the things we've done a really good job at doing is we've really preached the community aspect from day one. It's the reason I joined. I got my first, I was not a minter. So I joined CyberKongz in June because honestly, at the time when they minted, I remember thinking there were so many pixelated PFP projects. And I was like, ooh, this is just another one. I skipped over it. I just paid no attention. And in June, my brother said, we really got to check these guys out. They're doing something really special over there. And hung out in the Discord for probably a week before I actually got my first Kong. But what I realized, and at that time I had 2 Bored Apes, and I remember thinking, this feels different here. Like, and what felt different was that, number one, there were some Discords I would go into where I just felt very undergunned. Like I just felt like I didn't belong because I didn't know enough. Or I wasn't part of the culture. So I just always kind of felt like a bit of an outsider. And in Kongz, it was like I had been there since day one. Everybody was nice. Everybody answered questions. And one of the guys on the Council of Kongz, his name is Inverted, who's an amazing guy. I posted in one of the channels like, hey, looking to trade. I wasn't liquid. So I was like looking to trade a Bored Ape. For a Kong, and he DM'd me, and here's the thing, he DM'd me not because it was actually a good trade at the time for him. It probably wasn't, but these guys who got in at the beginning understood how important it was to help develop and foster the community. So even though at the time the Genesis Kong was worth more than the Bored Ape was, he did it to build the community. And that's also something that I always tell these guys who maybe they sold in the early days and they feel bad that like, oh man, I could have been sitting on 15 Kongs or 20 Genesis Kongs. And I'm like, yeah, but here's the thing. We wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for guys like you guys that were sitting on a bunch of these, were willing to part with them to grow the community. And that culture is what really drew me to the Kongs. And I think, to kind of come back to my original point, was that I think the community is the biggest. If somebody said to me, like, why would I want to buy a VX, or why would I want to buy a baby, or why would I want to buy a Genesis Kong? I could tell you all about our ecosystem and all of the innovation that we've done, which has really led way for a lot of other projects, because we are, in my mind, the alpha builders of Web3. Our dream team of devs and our big brains have done like a really cool job rolling out some really cool stuff. But at the end of the day, the reason I would tell somebody to join CyberKongz is for the community, because honestly, and yeah, I'm a little bit partial, but I'm in other communities, and there is just something really special about being with a group of people that are like-minded, that share the same passions, and that don't really care at all. When I say they don't care what the price is, I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean is it doesn't drive what we do. There isn't an action that CyberKongz takes based on what is the floor price of this asset. It doesn't matter. The roadmap gets implemented no matter what the price of the asset is. And I just love that the Kongs continue to build and they continue to drive value. And we continue to grow as a community, where when we go to events in real life and you see somebody that you saw at the last 2 events, you're like, oh man, it's so good to see you again. And you become on like first name basis with genuine brothers and sisters in your community. So managing expectations, it all depends on why that person came into your ecosystem. As you know, I'm sure in your community, if somebody is in a community for nothing more than buying and selling that NFT, well, they're not really part of the community in the same way as the people who don't really care what the price is, but they're there because they see a bigger vision at the end of the day. And those are the people that I care when I say most about. Those are the people that are going to be there no matter what the price is. They're there for when I say the right reasons, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong to care about, your investment. I'm just saying those are the people that might not be as willing to see the big picture if in, 1 month's time, we go down in ETH in price or whatever the case may be. I'm like, said to somebody yesterday in Discord, they actually came in and they mentioned like, why is the price down? And I said, you know, I learned a long time ago, I don't look at the price as any indication of the project. When you're this deep into a project, you look at what is the team doing, what are they implementing, what are they making promises on, and what are they delivering on. That's how I judge a project. I don't care if the floor is 0.02 or if the floor is 100 ETH. Like, are they delivering on what they said they're going to, and do I believe in this long term?
No, those are powerful words. I mean, I could not ask for a better way to, describe that. And I think that this is going to be a powerful message, especially for those that are listening to this, because it gives it that good perspective of, understanding these different, like you said, how people are coming in, why they're coming in, what they're looking to do. And the big picture is huge, right?
Let me
There's
ask you
going to be
this.
times, there's going to be times where the tree gets shook,
Yes. And what other collectibles, if we want to look at it from, let's extract the community from it, right? Let's say nobody is joining for the community aspect, which you and I both know is not true. There's a ton of people that join for the community aspects in both of our communities. But let's just look at it from a collectible standpoint. So if you're buying this as a collectible, like, what collectibles do we hold to the same standards that we hold NFTs to? It's fairly unrealistic, if you think of it, to think that projects are just going to always be on this straight line up. And it's surprising to me that people have these expectations that, like, oh man, I got into this project, and if it doesn't mint out in 30 seconds, and if it doesn't 5x out of the gate and then quickly 20x from there, I'm going to FUD it to death. I'm like, what else in life do we hold to those expectations? It's not even close to realistic. So I think people need to be a little bit more realistic with their journey in NFTs, and not be so down when, the overall market may be down. Yeah. Hey, if you've paid attention, it's typically temporary. So get into good projects that you believe in and ride it out, because that if you're only joining from the collectible standpoint and what is the value of that collectible, that's when you're going to see probably the most amount of gains. If you're only going for a gains perspective, is when you're in it and you're in it for the long haul, and you can be there for those rises in value.
No, you couldn't. Like I said, you couldn't have described that any better. And it kind of also touches a little bit on some of the next question that I had about having some of those hurdles. We've mentioned this a couple of times. There's different phases. There are different areas of hurdles that you have throughout these projects, especially with how this technology and how just the space in general is developing. But do you have anything that you specifically identify as something that's kind of like the biggest hurdle for projects or communities to overcome?
Oh man, that's a great question. I think there's a lot of hurdles for projects. And I think, going back to what we were just talking about, I think expectations. I don't think it's realistic. And I guarantee you there will be a ton of people that would absolutely disagree with what I'm saying. But again, I try to keep it realistic. I think the idea, so I'll take it maybe in a couple segments. So I'll use CyberKongz as my maybe first example. So, CyberKongz were early. Okay. We were early in that spring of 2021. And because we were innovating, we were really one of the first projects. I could argue the first successful project to implement a utility token. You could say hash masks were, okay? But CyberKongz, when we migrated our contract, which by migration, I mean, we migrated our contract, which allowed Genesis Kongs to start yielding banana. And through banana, which is the fuel of our ecosystem, you could breed babies. You could also do other things with banana, like rename your Kong on chain. You could write a bio for your Kong on chain. But we, if you want to say, had a little bit of a first mover advantage, luckily we had a team that implemented some really innovative mechanics, and they caught. So maybe there's a little bit of lightning in a bottle where we got one of the first utility tokens to be actually utilized for something. along with an awesome community. So people were kind of drawn to us. And then we had our VXs come out, our voxelized assets came out. So what I always wondered was over the summer of 21, where so many projects really just kind of rolled out the same type of mechanics. Like, if we're being honest, how many projects in the summer of 2021 kind of came out with a roadmap of mint our project, it will yield a token, we're going to buy land in the sandbox, and we're going to implement this roadmap, and we're going to drop you a metaverse asset at some point, or some sort of companion drop. Like, so many projects went down that exact same road. So I don't think it's realistic to think, with the small amount of people that we had in the space at the time, and even now, like, you know, we have grown a lot, but we still are a relatively small group of Web3 enthusiasts. Like, how realistic is it to think that like every project is going to be able to do the exact same thing and be equally successful? So I think some of the hurdles are the innovation of the space itself. Like, how do we get projects to come in and have something fresh and new? Because at the end of the day, with so many people having unrealistic expectations of the space, if it doesn't moon, I'm selling it. Or if it doesn't sell out in 5 minutes, the project is terrible. I want to use Penelope's Country Club as an example of a success story that did not mint out overnight. Penelope's is Carlini 8's project. I think it dropped, might be wrong on this, in July, did not sell out until August. It may have even dropped end of June, didn't sell out into August. But if you look at it, it's still maintained a price well above mint ever since it minted out. Well, it didn't mint out in 3 minutes. I think the idea that if it doesn't mint out right away, you are done, I think we need to let that go. Because if the mechanics are there, I think people will come into it. But I also think that we need to continue to innovate the space. And to something you brought up earlier, as you mentioned, like sports and augmented reality, this is how we build this. This is how we take our space from where we were a year ago to being implemented in real life, where we don't even know that we're on Web3, is by innovating. And some of that innovation, I think, I'm not an expert, but I think it comes from realizing that by doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting the exact same results every time is not the way. So maybe this is the way that the space tells us, like, okay, doing the same mechanics over and over and over again on every project is not going to work. And so somebody's going to come in with a fresh new idea. And then I think it's natural for a lot of projects to try to gravitate towards those mechanics. And if they're new and improved mechanics, I think that's how we innovate, is we start getting new concepts in, new ideas in. Because I think you and I both know we can't just be doing the same thing all of the time and expect the same results. And so I think that is a barrier right now, is that the innovation, like, maybe the innovation needs to, if you want to say, speed up a little bit. If it doesn't, I think we just need to be realistic about where we are. We can't have 10 projects minting a day that you can't really differentiate all that much between A and E, because A, B, C, D, and E are kind of all the same projects. They're just different cute pictures. Yeah. So that's sort of my take. And I think one other barrier is that as more projects are going to layer 2 solutions, I think people have to embrace and understand that if you want to be involved with this technology right now, you need to understand to a basic degree how it works. How do you bridge Ethereum to Polygon? How do you bridge it to Arbitrum? I think sometimes people hear those things and they stop dead in their tracks and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that because it sounds super techie, when in reality it's like, no, watch a video or let somebody explain it to you, and in 5 minutes you'll see that's not an overly difficult thing to achieve. And I do think layer 2 solutions are one more tool that we all have in our toolbox to expand the space and start cutting down on some of these gas fees and transaction fees and those sort of things. So those are just 2 things off the top of my head that I think of as some of the barriers or hurdles for either new projects or for people coming in. Because one more thing I want to make, and I don't want to like drone on. I know I'm doing
no, you're good. You're good. This is great.
I think that people come into the space because, like you mentioned, your sister sent you a picture of your NFT and said, "Hey, you and I both know it's a joke, and that they clearly don't own it." But I think it's people like us, okay? It's people like in your community and people in Kongs, amongst other projects that are sharing this technology with their friends, and that's how the space grows, right? We're telling people about it. If those people coming into the space think that this space is just about buying a pretty picture, selling a pretty picture, and making a profit, that's a little bit of a barrier, because if you're not expanding on the tech, if you're not diving into it to understand, what am I doing? What's actually happening on the blockchain when I do this? Like, when I click this button, what is it doing? Let me look into Etherscan and see, like, what does this mean? What does that mean? If people aren't understanding the technology, I think that's their own barrier to entry, because they are severely limiting what they are able to do. Some people may only have the skill set to be able to buy something on OpenSea because they don't understand maybe how to mint. They probably definitely don't understand how to mint directly from a contract. And with all of the scams out there, think of how scared somebody may be, somebody new in the space, to click anything, because they're like, okay, if I click this, does it drain my wallet? Does it drain my bank account? There's all these scams floating around out there. There's a lot of money at stake. And I think one of those barriers is just an individual holder's apprehension to learning the technology, even to a really basic degree.
Yes. No, you hit multiple very important parts. And I think it's great. The one thing about the innovation, having, we can't always have this cookie cutter kind of structure. You got to have a little bit of changes to it. You got to do your own thing, because that's how you differentiate yourself. That's how you build more towards, some of these different aspects that are going to bring or continue to maintain some of these people in the space. And, just the whole thing about, I love the fact that you brought up the bridging, because, people right now, when they're on Ethereum, all they think is, okay, Ethereum, I'm just on Ethereum. Or if they're on Polygon, I'm just on Polygon. And so understanding the layers to that is important, because, like you said, our projects are able to utilize some of this stuff to, for example, let's just say we wanted to create some holiday special NFT that we just send out to all of our holders. And, the best way to do it is to do it on Polygon, because there isn't the gas fee associated, as opposed to if we tried to do it just straight up on Ethereum, it would cost an arm and a leg to do it. It's great. And I appreciate all of these points. And, especially like the last one, again, it was talking about, just having that understanding, and, kind of I like to address this from a new perspective of, talking about, being rugged. Have you ever been rugged before? And
oh yeah,
touch on that.
I mean, and I share this story often, because while it's embarrassing, I actually think it's also helpful for people to know that, I personally was key logged back in August. So I lost a immense amount of NFTs, Ethereum, like a lot. And it was right when the Discord hacks were happening. Like, it wasn't, now, if you get a DM, like, you don't click it. They turn off your DMs. I may have been like the third Bored Ape. I think I was like, let's say I was within maybe the first 5 Bored Apes to have been stolen. And when I say stolen, it's more like I gave it away, because I clicked on a link. It asked me, it said my account was compromised. I needed to re-import my wallet. And I made the mistake. I had all my seed phrases memorized, which I thought was a badge of honor. It's actually a terrible thing, because it was so accessible to me. I always say my fingers were like 5 seconds ahead of my brain. I entered my seed phrase in, And then I entered my password into one of the fields, but I never clicked the next button. And I remember I had that feeling of, oh, this doesn't feel right. So I clicked out of it and I thought I dodged a bullet. And I remember I went into the Bored Ape Discord and said, like, "Ooh, did anybody get this message?" They said, "Yeah, don't click on it. It's a scam." I said, "Thank God." I clicked out of it, and somebody said, if you wrote anything in the fields, take everything out of your wallet. You could have been key logged. I wasn't even familiar with what being key logged was. And basically, to anybody who doesn't know, that means as you're typing, they can see what you're typing. And I remember I went into my MetaMask wallet and I looked for my ape. It was gone. And that started a 3.5 hour mission of trying to. So at this point, the hacker, if you want to call him a hacker, was in my wallet. I was in my wallet. He's trying to send assets out. I'm trying to send assets out. I'm trying to send Ethereum into my wallet to have enough gas to be able to send NFTs out. And this went on for 3.5 hours. And I was lucky that I had my group of idiots to help, because we had like a full-on defense. And I was fortunate. While I lost a lot, I also saved a lot. And I was able to get, at the time, I had one Genesis Kong. I was able to get him out first. He took all of my babies. But after 3.5 hours, the guy contacted me and he said, if you could have one of your NFTs, he said, do you have any emotional ties to your NFTs? Now, keep in mind, I'm still in the middle of like thinking I'm fighting with this guy. And I said, yeah, of course, but like, it doesn't matter at this point because they're all gone. And he said, if you could have one back, what would it be? And I said, it would be my ape, but like, it doesn't matter. It's gone. I said, who is this? And he said, I'm the guy. And I was like, oh, no way. And he sent me back my ape. My brother said, hey, ask him if you could get one Punk's comic back and tell him it was a gift from like your brother. I did. He gave me back a Punk's comic. He was gonna give me back my Bored Ape Kennel Club, my dog, but they kicked him out of the Discord, so he didn't. But I am super, super fortunate he gave anything back. And it was it was such a lesson on security of like, you know what, we get in such a habit of click this, click that, click this, it does this, then it does that. And it's like, you really got to slow down sometimes and think like, what am I doing? What am I clicking on? What type of money is at stake right here? Like, let me slow down a minute. And the sad thing is, and it wouldn't have really saved me at this point because I gave away my seed, but I had not moved anything to a hardware wallet at that point. I was still being, careless. I mean, even though I wasn't purposely being careless, I was, because I heard so many times about, hardware wallets and I just wasn't implementing those safer procedures. We always say this in the flooring business, like let's use like tile as an example. You learned from a guy who learned from a guy who learned from a guy. And if that guy at the very beginning was not doing it right, guess what? So is nobody else that he taught. And I think one of the things in Web3 is similar. Like you learn from somebody who probably learned from somebody. And if those people are not practicing it right, there's a decent chance you aren't either. So I always try to tell people, like, slow down, spend the money on a hardware wallet, and practice a hot wallet, cold wallet system where you only mint from one wallet that should have very little in it, and just spend a little bit of extra ETH to transfer that to your hardware wallet. And if you do that, if you do that religiously, you will avoid that happening to you. So I've been rugged that way. And I've been rugged on a couple NFT projects. I think the last one I could think of was CyberKongz. I think it was like Doodle Kongs. And I minted it, and boom, the devs left. It's sad. It's actually disgusting. As you know,
it is. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
you're
right.
Good.
Yeah, just hearing these different people. This space has a lot of opportunity, but also has a lot of that risk. And there are people that will pry on these vulnerabilities.
It's too easy of a playground for these bad actors to operate in, because The rewards are big. The risk is very little on their end. And there are so many people to take advantage of. It's probably like a pickpocketer in a train station with a whole bunch of people with open backpacks and books. And they're just like, ooh, okay, I only got to roll like a 10% here and I'm still going to make out okay. These people can make a lot quickly and they're gone. And obviously these are soulless people that do not have the same ideals that we do. And so they're okay with it. And it's something that we all, do our best to try to educate our communities to be very cognizant of it. But like in CyberKongz, I cannot tell you how many phishers and scammers on a daily basis. We have bots to boot them, but we also manually boot them. And I'm like, man, it is gross that there are this many people out there that are just trying to take advantage of people. And I really do look forward to a time where that's not as prevalent, because it seems like every week we're getting some new scam that we have to be aware of to try to avoid. I saw one yesterday about the potential that Google document links, and I think there was another link, can be embedded in, can have an embed in them, or that there's something with them that somehow replaces your MetaMask extension, and it's a scam of some sort. But at the end of the day, I'm like, think of how many whitelists get exchanged via Google document links. So all it takes is somebody to spring up a project, gain the trust, and all of a sudden maybe they're passing out links for people to click on for them to, hey, we have a whitelist document ready for your community. Just have them fill this out. We did the work for you. And next thing you know, boom, you're compromised. It's just, it's gross and it's unfortunate, but it's something we all have to be aware of.
Yep. And, sometimes it is unfortunate. And, there are going to be those lessons that are had to be learned. But those lessons are where we can make those improvements from, and where we can actually look forward to make a lot of, some of those protective environments to where we're able to mitigate a lot of these risks. And it's just the nature of where we are at in the development of all this technology and whatnot. Like you said, just the understanding that people have and their soulless ability to take advantage of others who are, looking at some of the barriers, having that lack of knowledge or looking to have a better understanding coming into this space. So there's so much to be learned. And, it is unfortunate when you hear the different cases of people getting, social engineered or hacked, in a sense, to lose some of the investments that they've worked hard on. Or, we've even had people in our community that are experienced traders in the sense, and they are doing flipping and building up their portfolios of it. Sometimes even they mess up or click on the wrong thing. And it's truly sad, but it's something that we can keep our mind straight for. If we want to educate to help secure everybody, to help prevent these kind of situations from happening.
Absolutely. No, you're right. It genuinely is, when I see it happen, even though I don't know the people, it's heartbreaking. When I was in Denver, there was a Genesis Kong who lived in Nepal. And I imagine the median income in Nepal is not very much. So I would assume that a Genesis CyberKong in value was probably worth, man, I can't even imagine. I still think of it like, I wonder how he's doing. And he was crushed. He was.
Oh, I think that we just lost him there for a moment. It might have been because he was using one of his phones for this space, so it could have possibly died. But again, thank you so much to Henry. Oh, there he is. He's back.
Yeah, Ruggs. Sorry, man. Hey.
Oh no. I was just catching. I was like, oh, his phone might have died or something, but no, we got you back.
Yeah, sorry about that. But I felt terrible for this guy who was going through what I know is a crushing moment, and there's like nothing you can do to help him. So yeah, my heart bleeds when I see people go through that, because I've experienced it. So I know the feeling. And I remember at the time, everybody just said, like, you still have chips at the table and you will come back from this. And I'm grateful to still be here in, March of 22, saying like, hey, I'm still here. Like, yeah, I lost a lot, but I'm still here, and that's really all that mattered to me in the end.
Well, hey, I appreciate all the insight that you have provided. You know, this has been a great discussion, great interview to learn all these different aspects from the journey you've had in this Web3 space, along with all the things that you've learned and are able to help educate others and engage with. It's truly incredible. And I appreciate, like I said, you hopping on and taking the time to have this interview with myself with Meta Legends. And, you know, is there anything else, anybody you want to give a shout out to? Any last minute comments before we end this?
Yeah, you know something, I'm just always love to, and I appreciate the opportunity to shout out the Council of Kongs. Those guys are amazing. Mio, Coco, Inverted, Seb, Svenstar, Clumsy, Lixie, Metal. Those guys are Owl. Those guys are incredible guys, and our mods who help tremendously in our Discord. So a big thank you to all of them. And you know, we have a new game that just came out called Play and Collect. It's on Polygon. It's a really cool, fun little adventure game. It's worth checking out. And honestly, I look forward to talking with you again in the future and keeping the channels open to talk about both of our projects and where you guys are going and where we're going and where the future of Web3 is going.
Absolutely. No, we appreciate those kind of perspectives and also that foresight and looking into it. And absolutely, coming from Meta Legend, we wish nothing but success and happiness and an incredible experience as the Kongs go throughout their experience. And we also look forward to doing, you know, maybe we'll be doing something together in the future.
Yeah, you know what, man, I appreciate you having me on and letting us, you know, share. And it was great chatting with you, and definitely look forward to keeping our relationship up.
Awesome. Yo. Let me just say this. Was that not one of the most engaging interviews that you've witnessed here in the NFT space? I mean, just talk about a person with a lot of experience, somebody that has been through a lot of the works of it, has been, you know, they've been rug pulled, they've gone through and worked from the basic understandings that a lot of us didn't have going into it. They were into the space early, and just the way that Henry was able to articulate that with everybody here, with myself, and again, you know, having the time to take to actually jump on the interview with us. I mean, it was truly incredible. So please, everybody, give a big shout out, show the love to CyberKongz and their incredible community, as well as HenryTheGrape. Just a big shout out to you for all the knowledge, all the experience, all the perspective that you provided to not just myself, but everybody who was watching. So thank you so much. Hey, we got a little bit of a surprise, so let's take it on over to the lounge. Ooh, don't worry. I saw it. I saw a lot of the comments coming through during the podcast about everybody being excited and just, you know, we got Branstrom saying, hey, he's very happy with how Henry did. And, you know, we got people that are just praising this episode. And I again, you know, there were so many different aspects to learn, just different things to understand from a community perspective, from a new investor or a new person in the Web3 space. There's lots of things to understand. And, you know, it's great to have people like Henry who are able to highlight these different aspects. You know, their community, they look at things differently. He connects with people, he connects on different levels, and he has these experiences. And, you know, there's lots of communities out there that people relate to and they have experiences with. But sometimes when you take that community away, and you're looking at things, it's just like, all right, let's be realistic with what our expectations are and things that we are trying to push and make happen. And like I said, you know, I guarantee we're going to have great conversations about this in the Discord and in other spaces. And so, you know, just to celebrate two big things, this episode and also the Legend Zone, we want to have a giveaway. You know, it's been a while. We haven't done one of these in a minute. And so we kind of just were thinking, hey, this is a great episode. We had a great interviewee, Henry the Grape, and then we also have the Legend Zone drop. And so let's go ahead and do a giveaway. What are we doing? We're going to be giving away one NFT to win, and the winner is going to be picked randomly in 48 hours. The tweet has been posted over there on the @MetaLegends NFT Twitter, the official Twitter, and you will see which one it is. It includes both. It includes a quoted retweet of the episode, and it's something exciting. So if you want to get a chance at winning an NFT, a MetaLegends NFT, head on out there to the Twitter, follow both @MetaLegends NFT and @MetaLegends Live. Give it a nice retweet, tag 3 friends, and we will be drawing a winner in 48 hours. So again, show some love to Henry. I mean, he was incredible. And I, again, can't wait to see what more we can do in the future about collaborations and whatnot. So it was great. And, you know, to look at it from the other perspective here again, you know, we like to do different things in the lounge. So the person that got nominated for the Legend of the Week so far is Chad Crypto Cocktail. Big shout out to you, my guy, because you are always out there hyping the community, whether it's on Discord or on Twitter. You are always sharing and just spreading the passion for the project. So a big shout out to you. Thank you so much for all the things that you're doing. And we love the energy that you bring to the project. Also, you know, like I said, we have a couple of things going on throughout the rest of the week. We got a couple quizzes. We got AMAs lined up, more information to be shared. And again, on Sunday, make sure you're tuned in for 3D Monsters design lessons. Exciting stuff. And if you have any questions, all the information that we have is out there on the Discord. Feel free to shoot us a message, whether it's here on the Twitter or on any of the other social platforms with the YouTube and the Facebook. And also, you know, come to the Discord, shoot me a message. We have a great community that are always happy to answer any and all questions or direct you in the right way. So again, thank you to everybody who was able to tune in for tonight. This has been fun. I'll head out to there for the giveaway. We haven't done one in a while, so get excited, have some fun with it, and definitely spread the project. So again, head over to the Discord. We're going to have some fun. Lots of things to look forward to. Lock it in, fam. Let's lock it in. Peace.